Well, hello, folks. Just let me get this off the screen. Here we go. Welcome to another broadcast. And for all the new people that signed up membership in the Ride to Rock Facebook page, a special welcome to you guys. We got a good night tonight. We're going to be talking about some interesting items, the etiquette while you're out on the trail. And we'll bring on our guests in a few minutes. So you notice that little thing that I had up there right on the bottom? It said, ladies, make sure you comment tonight because we have a prize. And we're going to get all the ladies who comment. We're going to put them on our wheel of names and we're going to draw for a prize. We'll show you that a little later. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to show you some of our up and coming things. Let me get you up here. All right, so this is some up and coming shows here. You might be aware that between May the 18th and the 24th, the RCMP are doing a Canada road safety campaign. And along with that, the Newfoundland RCMP, they're going to do a little campaign or a kickoff on ATV safety. So right now there's a location at Holyrood, and again that depends on weather and a few things. But if you go on their Twitter page, you'll see the announcement come out. So Ventures Talks is going to be in Holyrood, and hopefully we can bring you some of the live things that's taking place that day. On May the 19th, Corporate Jolene Garland, she's with the RCMP. She's going to be on with us, and that's all a part of the ATV safety, and she'll tell us more about that. And also Patrick Ryan, he lives in Nova Scotia. He's going to be with us as well. He's got a Facebook page called Crossing Newfoundland by ATV, and there's lots of content on his webpage. So we're going to have him on for a discussion as well. And then in June, we're starting to get into June already, so we're trying to stay ahead of some good shows to bring to you folks. We're going to be talking, I think, about ATV trails on the island. So you'll see probably some polls come out in the next while, and I'm probing a little bit of getting some folks on. So that's a future discussion. But anyway, so that's our lineup for the next couple of weeks. Actually, now is a good time if you're just tuning in by YouTube or Facebook. If you want to ring somebody up and tell them to join, and especially if we get some comments from some of the ladies, you're going to like the little prize that we got to give away. So let me go back here full screen again. Jeffrey Prowse, it's time for the ladies to. So Jeffrey, he's with the Ride the Rock. I'm going to bring the guys up on the screen here now. And here we go. How's it going, Jeffrey and Carol and Everett?
How's it going, guys?
Good.
Perfect.
I think
So
the
what
weather
do you-
will try to break for us.
What's that?
I think the weather's going to try to break. 1 minute it was sun, rain, but it's going to come out for a bit.
Yeah. Well,
Or we're wishing anyway.
we need some warm weather, and I believe Ontario's after having some real nice hot weather, so we're going to hopefully
It'll come
put some
across.
signs up. We'll put some signs up to see if we can get that directed down our way.
That's right. Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So what have you guys been up to since the last show that we had?
Well, I've been up in the woods.
Go ahead, Carol.
I've been up in the woods getting a few loads of wood with the bike.
Oh, okay. And I got put
Everett?
Little bit of echo on the go here, so I'm just trying to work behind here to see if we can get rid of some of it. So, Everett, what have you been doing?
Not a whole lot because the weather hasn't been that great. Well, I did get a small ride in and a lunch, of course. Got to have lunch. But
Yeah.
other than that, we're just waiting for things to warm up and dry out. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was out again this Sunday. We went for a little local ride this time, and I'm sure you've seen some of the video on Ride the Rock Adventures if you're following the group. And we did come across a major washout, so I just want to remind everybody about that major washout. That's there on Skippins Ridge, not Skippins Ridge, but Skippins Ridge Road. There's two different places, and the title is pretty close. There's Skippins, and that's over by Southbrook area, and then there's Skippins Ridge, which is over by Beaver area. So it's very easily get confused with those names. And the Elwyn didn't know anything about it.
No, I didn't. No.
Well, there's Robert's Farm is Kippins, begins with
Kippins, yes. There's a major washout there in that Skippins Ridge Road, and there's some fundraising things on the go now, and it is actually the main one of the main snowmobile trails. So I think NLSF will be helping with that. Now there's a couple smaller washouts that comes off the main one, which to my understanding is responsibility of the local club themselves. So we're about to get ready to do some fundraising, and there is a group actually doing that now. There's a lady by the name of Josephine Thomas, and she's raising funds right now to do that trail. And she's from Middle Arm, so check her out on Facebook if you're willing to donate towards that cause. We took that ride on Sunday, and from the top of the ridge, and it is a snowmobile trail, from the top of the ridge to the bottom, and it is getting pretty rough, and there's sections where you pretty much got to put one tire on one side, another tire on the other side, and go down between, and everything is eat out in the center. You could, I keep saying you can stand up in the center and drive around over you, but it's not that bad, but it's no trouble to sit up in places, and the bike would ride right on over you with the tire on either side. So there's some big washouts around. So guys, if you're out and about, keep your eyes open for that. And if you come across a washout that you haven't heard about, grab your ribbon, flagging, whatever. I'm sure you got some, or cut a tree, branch, stick down in the hose, and just something to warn other ATVers that there's an hazard in.
And you could post it on Ride the Rock too. So
most definitely. Most definitely. Actually, I had someone call me a week and sort of a praise report against Ride the Rock, talking about how informative that the group is, and really enjoyed that. This is what the group is about: is the information and what they can get from that.
That's awesome. Yeah. So what I did now since the last show was I got an AT or a side by side that I had tracks on. So I decided to take the tracks off and put the tires on. And I remember changing them about one time before. It took me probably an hour, maybe hour and a half. This took me 2 days. There's a pleasure of living down last side of the water. I think everything was rusted, and I snapped off bolts, and my gosh, it's just.
Not good.
But I got the tires on, and I put two of them on backwards. I was talking to Everett. He said, there's some arrows on those tires. So if I went for a ride now, I wouldn't know if I was going forward or backwards.
Yeah, they're directional tires.
Yeah, those are. But you know what? Not all tires are like that. Some tires have that direction on there.
Same as a regular vehicle. You can get directional tires for a regular vehicle as well.
Depends on the thread pattern, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I got
something
trouble there in the summer, one boy.
Well, it looks like you're frozen. It's too cold over there in Kings Point somewhere.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I'm frozen there now.
Yeah.
Sounds much better.
Yeah. Why don't you just log off and I'll bring you back on again, Carol?
All right, good enough.
We can do that. And while we're doing that, there's a little notice that just came up here on my screen. It said this here. Oh, I'll get it working. Here we go. It's ad time. So I'm going to run our little thing by our sponsors here now, and
But I'll log off here now.
yeah, sure, okay, and then I'll run this this ad here. So here we go. There you go. We're back again. Oh, Carol had a chance to reboot, and he's back again.
Yeah,
there you go.
So, with all those sponsors, folks, that means that there's prizes that or giveaways that we can, hand out on the shows as long as we get some, people participate.
That's right. So we gotta get the people to participate, and the only way to win is to participate.
When you're froze there now.
See if this boots here. Here we go. Now we're back again.
Okay.
All right. Technical difficulties. Like I said several times, I'm good at the rotary phone. That's what I grew up on, and playing with this stuff is, is a hit and miss sometimes. So we'll get into our topic tonight, which is etiquette on the trails. And I'm going to bring on Rick and Jamie and Kevin, and I'll give them a couple of seconds to introduce themselves and tell us what they're engaged in. And then we can start on the topic a little bit. So here's Jamie and Rick and Kevin, the Three Musketeers.
How's it going, guys?
Hi, guys. Jamie, you're muted there now for some reason. There you go. So, Rick, I know you got a big portfolio, and you've been on before, and there's a lot of things that you're engaged in. So, for folks that are new to Ride the Rock, tell us about what you're engaged with now.
Okay, well, I'm Rick Doherty. I'm president of Avalon Trailways. I'm an ATV safety instructor. I'm the president of Newfoundland Trailways with Jamie and Kevin there. And I was the vice president of the Canadian Quad Council, and now I'm the acting president of Canadian Quad Council. So quite active. I love every minute of it. Working with a great bunch of guys nationally and provincially there, with Jamie and Kevin. We both got, three of us love the rail bed, love what it has to offer. We love the challenges with it. I love ATVing. I love At My Cabin. And I'm a very big outdoor advocate and a user of the outdoors.
Cool. Sounds like you're a busy man. Kevin, give us a little rundown of what you're involved in. And I believe you were a past president of the Bicycle Association of Newfoundland, correct? Hello, Kevin.
His mic is muted there.
Yeah, just muted, yeah. Okay, let's go to Jamie. Jamie, you tell us about your participation, and
yeah, sure. That'll give Kevin a chance to unmute.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm the executive director for the Newfoundland Trailway Council. which is, of course, responsible for trying to work with government to keep the railway bed, the main trunk line, in a rideable, usable shape for all the users. I'm also the vice president of the Canadian Trail Federation nationally, looking at national issues, provincial issues, and things that what other provinces are doing and not doing or trying to do in the trail world, and all trails. So my mandate is more of everybody on the trail.
Okay. And Kevin, you've got unmuted, so tell us about yourself. Hello, Kevin.
Yes, I've been, now past the Bicycle NL. I was president for the last 4 years, and I
Oh,
also
okay.
been involved with the Trailway Council, I guess, for 4 years as a representative on the council, mostly, I guess, representing the non-motorized aspect of use on the trailway. So that's
Okay.
that's what I've been doing. How I pass my time.
Cool. So, folks, you've heard that, like there's lots of experience here on the Trail Association. And you'll see in my June 9th kind of a little probe there. So, as we go forward, we're going to be talking more about the trails and that. But tonight, we would like to talk about the etiquette. Now, there's different aspects. As you've seen when we put the countdown timer there. There's ATV and UTVs. There's motorbikes that's on the trails, walking and hiking. There's horseback and mountain biking. So during conversations that we've had, there's lots of times that someone will say, "Oh man, I was coming around the corner and here's these two side by sides coming, side by side." And no room to go, and everybody had to put their binders on, and then there's another one about the dust that's kicked up, and so our discussion tonight is mainly around that. Like, first of all, you guys, who should have, let's say, the right of way as far as courteous? Like, there's no written rule, I don't think, but being courteous, who should have the right of way on a trail system?
Well, with us on the trailway, we have signage in a lot of the populated areas, and it's quite simple. We see that wheels give way to heels, and we certainly like to respect the walker and give them the right of way. And but it works in a way that everybody has to work together. Like you can't expect somebody on a bicycle or on an ATV or whatever to stay behind a walker forever. So we certainly want to give them their space. Certainly need to give them time if they're walking a dog or if they got kids on a bicycle or something. We need to be very cognizant of that. Give them a chance to gather up their things and know that we're there. So, but the rule of thumb is that the wheels make way for heels.
Okay, so there's another little aspect of that, Rick. Horses. If you come
Yeah.
across, a walker or somebody on a mountain bike or an ATV, comes across a horse, people horsebacking.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know too much about horses, and there a few years ago we trained somebody on an ATV who owned a horse, and they tell the story that a horse doesn't recognize a human if they got a helmet on. So what they've suggested with us, if we're out on snowmobile or ATV or anything, when you pull over to allow the horse to get by, because you don't want to pass a horse, and if you do, you want to do it at a very slow speed. If it's coming towards you, let the horse have his room. But apparently, the safe thing to do is to take your helmet off, because a horse would recognize you as a human when you have your helmet off. With a helmet on, especially a helmet with a visor or shield and glasses, the horse gets spooked pretty easy. So, along with the noise, it's the visual thing that the horse wants to know that he's dealing with a human.
That's the first time I heard of that, actually. That's interesting.
Never crossed
Because,
my mind. Yeah, I
no,
didn't know it.
no,
It's only, I guess, part of trailways where you got, we had certain members around and we're talking to people that we hear these things. But the etiquette goes a little bit further too. Yeah, obviously that sort of stuff. But as Jamie can speak of, when we build our bridges, we got to keep, I guess, editors in mind there because one size don't fit all when it comes to building a bridge. So you have to think of cyclists, horses, walkers, skiers, snowmobiles, ATVers when we build a bridge. So, that's almost a show in itself.
yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. We do see some horseback riding in the Gander, Appleton area, as well as in the Stephenville corridor. Just to put it out there, that's probably a couple sections where I do know there are some people who like to put their horses out there for rides.
Okay, that's
It
good
might
to
be a
know.
rare sight, but they are out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Getting back to what Rick said about the horse not recognizing us, I think if we met a horse riding an ATV with a helmet on, we probably wouldn't recognize the horse either.
Yeah, that goes both ways, don't it?
Yeah,
Guys,
no sense in horse around.
I heard a funny story. Heard a story a few years ago. Once again, we were doing some training. I think we were training fisheries officers. And the guys had a bit of a covert operation going, and they had on the ghillie suits, and they were sneaking up on a river, and they were going across a pasture, and next thing you hear the noise. And here's the horse, sees somebody crawling across the field in his suit, thinks the side is moving, has no idea it's a human, and actually blew the guy's cover and chased him right out of the field.
Oh dear,
Yeah.
there's lots of them. So let's just focus on one point now on the ATV itself. Okay, so you and your buddies get together and you're going out on a trail or go for a ride for the day or whatever. What are some of the things that we should be kind of cognizant of, as far as being etiquette with the guys that's in the group and oncoming? What's some of your thoughts on around that?
Well, first of all, I think the big thing is you need to be seen. What I see a lot that people aren't using their headlights, especially here on the railbed. Headlights are important. It's nice to have a flag on your machine that someone can see you through the alders. And the rationale of that is the quicker someone can see you, the more time they have to adjust to you, to be used to you. Like I said earlier, it could be gathering up your dog. It could be calling your kids in. So obviously, it's a time space thing, and the more time someone got to know you're in the area, the better it is. Of course, as you're riding with a group, you obviously give each other enough space that you don't get choked by the dust. You want to have somebody. I guess you're always responsible for the person behind you. That sort of thing. But once again, lights on, high visibility, let people know that you're around. And it is dusty. You can't prevent it. But if you're coming into a populated area, coming to a campsite or anything, back off the throttle a little bit, get the dust to settle, and hopefully it'll be a pleasant experience for everybody. Because the actions of either one of us as an ATVer, we go through and we create havoc. We don't know about it. We don't catch no crap because we're gone. Then you get the next guy behind us, and he's going to be judged by the way that we were. So we need to be in that and really think of other users.
I've been noticing as we were talking about etiquette and how much it parallels with safety, and is really close together. To be, if you're having good etiquette on the trails, that you're not only being safe yourself, but you're keeping other people safe as well by having an eye open for other people, and I like allowing a pedestrian to walk across the rail bit before you are gone up across type deal, right? Is all to do with safety as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it
And
certainly ties in. And
go ahead, Rick.
oh, sorry about that.
Yeah.
I said it ties in because, to the layman and the people that are watching and out on trail, they don't realize, they see an ATV, they see a dirt bike, they see a snowmobile, they see a skier. We all use it. We all love it, but we use it all a little bit different and we use it at different speeds. And, we need to be cognizant of that. Like, the cyclists will probably, comfortable at, I don't know, Kevin, 20 kilometers an hour or whatever. Walkers use it at different speeds. ATVers, snowmobiles, we're all on it. We all have to interact, but we all interact at different speeds. And we certainly need to be aware of that as well.
Now, one of the things that my background is on motorcycle. I had a motorcycle since I was 16 years old, or 17. And when you go with a group, we always made sure that the lead and the person that was behind, they're kind of looking out for that whole group. And you'll notice that if, let's say you're coming out of Tim Hortons and there's a group of them, the lead rider will go out and he'll almost block the traffic and let everybody else out. And then when the last bike goes, then he'll go back up and start leading again. And I think if you're going with a group, you should have the same kind of courtesy for the group and make sure that, the lead rider and the rear rider is looking out for whoever is in their group, because sometimes with the dust, you're quite a ways, 500 meters away or whatever, so you're not that close like you would be on a motorcycle because they kind of run parallel. And so that's my thought on an ATV and a group riding.
I'm just curious, Kevin. What do you know? What the cyclists? What do they do? Like, let's say for safety wise, and if they encounter motorized vehicles. I hear you're more into the non-motorized, so I was just wondering what your thoughts is on that.
I guess as a rule of thumb on the trailway, I guess the slowest moving would be the one that would have the right of way. So if it's a walker, and then perhaps somebody on horseback, which is rare, but not as rare as we see, then perhaps the cyclist, and then the motorized. And I know that generally on the trailway, cyclists don't ride in large groups. There's probably a group of 2 or 3, maybe 4. Could be half a dozen, but the most times it's not a large group. And of course, you're traveling at about 15 kilometers an hour. That's about most people are comfortable at that speed, and the non where they're going to have the non-finished parts of the trailway. And certainly from a dust perspective, and as you see, I know I've had an opportunity to ride across the province at the full trailway, and when ATVs are approaching, the vast majority, what happens is that they'll slow down or come to a stop, and you get an opportunity to move by, and it's greatly appreciated when that happens because of the factor of the dust, and then also the debris. If indeed a vehicle's gone by much faster than that, then there's always some debris that's picked up. And but I found that the vast majority of the motorized, what happens is that they'll slow down, come to a stop, pull over. There's times that we stop and chat and see get a feel for what's ahead on the trail, exchange a bit of information, and it's it's wonderful to be able to chat and talk to some of the other users. And there's more. I think there's more and more cyclists out there. A lot of people are riding the fat bikes, which is basically a tire which is 4 inches wide, as opposed to standard 2.5 inch mountain bike tire. And so technology, there's things changing in bicycles that are coming. But certainly, it's greatly appreciated when, as you're riding there to when the ATVs and side by sides slow down, come to a stop, and you get to go by and wave and have a chat and go on from there. It's same when we become a walker, somebody hiking. I've had that opportunity a number of times. People that are walking across the province on the trailway, you meet them out in the middle of nowhere, and gonna stop and have a chat. So, it's a great resort we have, and we'd like to for everybody to use it and appreciate it.
And Jeffrey mentioned
about, that gives you a
that's
better
perfect.
sense of
Jeffrey mentioned earlier about it kind of coincides with safety, and one of the things that you see somebody walking or on bicycle or whatever, you can stop and talk and just see if they're okay, because we had a guy on before that he was in the backcountry and he suffered a heart attack, and I think of that story so much that it's only courteous to stop sometimes and just, instead of waving people by, just for a few minutes. And I know here in Newfoundland, I mean, sometimes you almost got to tell somebody to okay, I got to go, because what happens is I'll put Kevin back on again. He just popped off for a second, but it's good to find out where they're coming from. Just have a good conversation, and you might meet a new friend, and then invite them to ride the rock.
Yes, there you go. What I find about one of the things I enjoy on the trail system is that very fact of stopping someone that's coming towards you and sitting back and having a little chat, and where you're from, and how much riding do you do, and get to know people and get to know where they're coming from, and it's all that thing that actually get me. I really enjoy that part of the groom trails, or riding the trails and on ATVs and stuff. And you never know, as you might get invited for a cup of tea.
There you go. Jamie, we're having a conversation there. You were talking about more and more. It seems to be that the trail system is starting to get used by more than just.
Well, absolutely. I mean, Rick will speak to this as well, but I mean, ATV sales are up 150%. You can't buy a mountain bike in the city. Everybody is out on the trails, more so this year than any other year, and that's right across the country. So what you're gonna see is way more people, way more interactions than you've experienced in the past, just because trails are COVID friendly and everybody's out there. It's just a sheer numbers game, right? Everybody's buying ATVs and mountain bikes, for sure they're using them.
Yes.
So you're going to see people out there, right? So just some things that people have contacted us, like riding, or ATV side by side, 4 across, walking 4 across. Riding 2 ATVs side by side, riding 4 bikes side by side. Just keep in mind that trailway is 2 ways. And it is multi-use. Everybody has a right to be there. It's not an ATV trail. It's not a bike trail. It's not a walker's trail. So from at least on the other side of CBS to Port of Ass, it's a multi-use trail for everybody. And I've got just as much right as a walker as you do as an ATVer, and we got to figure out how to coexist and do things safely, so we both get the same enjoyment. Basically,
one thing that you said that kind of surprised me was the fact
And
that there's lots of folks who are hiking from Port Bass, let's say, across,
yep,
the island.
Yep, more and more every year. We see people that are making 30, 35-day trek. Taking all their gear on their backpack and leaving Port Bass and ending up in St. John's 30, 35 days later. And they write blogs and stories and that kind of stuff, right? So that's, it gets used more than the non-motorized component is bigger than anybody thinks. It's just not concentrated so that you don't really see it more so than that, right? I mean, there's lots of bikes going across the province on a regular basis, and in terms of pedal bikes. So I'm just like, when I mentioned this idea to you a long time ago, it was just more about trying to make people aware you're going to encounter other people, how to encounter them. Nobody wants to see accidents on any of the trail system. Nobody wants to see anybody to get hurt. And, so like I mentioned to you last night, if we can educate somebody that saves one person's life or from getting banged up, then, it's a good show in that respect. And you gotta learn to coexist.
Yeah, even the hikers and the walkers, I mean, there's a little bit of etiquette that they need to have too. Walking, now they can hear probably better than an ATV, but walking side by side or staying over on the right side of the trail, or, not leaving your partner if you're with somebody behind, and, that kind of stuff, eh?
Dogs on a leash, right? Everybody goes separate ways, and the dogs are on leashes on trails. Yeah, so I mean, it's all about learning to respect the other method, right? I mean, we all get across the trailway, just different speeds and different modes. And you just got to kind of figure out how to do it safe as possible. And there's always been close calls. You haven't got to read on Facebook very long before you see a close call with an ATV or a close call with a cyclist in a car, or so. It's just a matter of being aware that there are other people out there, particularly on the turns. You could encounter someone, and you probably will encounter someone this summer, and just have that in the back of your mind when you're out riding, as opposed to just driving around looking out the window or driving on your pedal bike and not really kind of paying attention. If you're going to wear a headset, wear one ear, particularly if you're cycling or a walker, because I mean, you can't hear a thing around you if you got your headset on and you're scooting up the trail. You haven't got a clue what's around you or in front of you. That kind of stuff. I mean, I've scared a good many walkers on my pedal bike. Ring a bell, and when you're right behind them, and all of a sudden headset's on, and you jump and look back at you and kind of get a chuckle. But at the same time, clearly they're not aware of their surroundings, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So it goes both ways. I mean, we all can sort of tidy up our respect for everybody else on the trail and have a way better experience.
Yeah, Rick, you started to say something there, and we cut you off, I believe. You're biting your tongue, I know.
Yes, sorry, guys. It gets me excited. Because, like, the one thing that we noticed at Trailway Council, that, there's times you're hearing stuff on Facebook or you're hearing stuff at meetings that, oh, this is a problem, that's a problem. But very, very, very rarely do we hear of a problem on the trail. I think once we get out of the office and out of the meetings and get on the trail, we're all the same. We all get along. I think we all love outdoors. And, one guy is hiking, the other guy's on a snowmobile or skis or whatever. We're not that different. We're outdoor enthusiasts. And I think we respect each other like that. And like Jamie made a point, and we hear it a lot. We get a lot of people walking, and the same thing. We were just saying that, they go to have they're trying to walk, 15, 20 kilometers a day, and they can't get it done. They're trying to walk across the island, and people keep stopping and offering them dinner. offering him a ride. Here's a guy, with a knapsack wants to walk across the rail bed, and the fella pulls up on the side by side. I can give you a drive. I can take your gear. I can do this, and that's we're almost too friendly with them. I mean, they love it, and we met a guy a couple of years ago. Myself and my wife were going across the island on side by side, and we met a guy who was actually walking around the world, and
Is that right? Wow.
he went out his front door and he used the trailway for that, and he spoke of the kindness. It was absolutely incredible that how many people looked at him, and like even down he was towing not a golf cart, because Jamie can tell you a golf cart story, but he was towing something on him, couldn't to the trailway, and people have took it into their sheds and modified it for him. And we met him at one place, like for argument's sake, he was walking in Gander, and the next night someone shows up in Grand Falls with this high output trolley. He couldn't get over it. And we're hearing those stories in the office all the time, but you don't see it.
No, that's right. The one thing about all this is, you mentioned this guy's walking around the world. Well, if we're good on the trail system, whether it's on a sled or whether it's on an ATV, and if people are coming from outside the province, I mean that's tourist dollars there, right?
That's great stuff.
We said this lots of times about this whole get up we got going here, Ride the Rock, and this talk show is all about promoting tourism in Newfoundland, and talk about some of the things that we see, and show some pictures and talk about it, that kind of stuff, eh?
Kevin mentioned earlier about you're trying to get one place and then someone stops you and all this stuff. I got a little interesting story coming back from Cornerbrook one evening, and the wife was driving, and I heard a noise, and the wife heard something. She said, "There's someone singing out. Is there someone out in the woods? Went off the trail upside down or something, type deal, right?" So we stopped the bike and put down the windows and listened again. And this is a guy behind us. Even after driving, oh my goodness, 20 minutes for sure to catch up with us, blinking his lights and singing out through the door. "Why is it seeing you go across the trail?" He said, "Just come back. I got steaks put on for you." So we didn't get home till like 12, 1 o'clock that night, because we turned around, drove back 20 minutes to this guy out of the blue, don't know who he is, and had supper with him and met a new friend.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's all good stuff.
I see Corbin posted a piece there. He was on the Gaff Tops. Was met two bicyclists.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So I mean, and exactly right. The last place you'd expect to meet a pedal bike, up on top of Gaff Topsail, but there you are,
yeah.
Right? So you always got to kind of be aware that there are other people out there that you're obviously going to overtake or come up on, right? If you're an ATV, and vice versa, that people may come up on top of you if you're a cyclist or a walker.
Yes.
Right. It's more about that kind of etiquette and just being aware, or being the expectation of being on trails. Because in some other provinces, the trails are strictly just motorized trails where you don't have that kind of interaction. But here you can expect that kind of different user groups all over the place.
Yeah, that's and you mentioned a little while
Especially
ago
within
about
communities. We're very lucky.
Yes.
is wearing the right attire, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Reflective gear where possible and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. I'm going to show the ladies who are watching something
There
here.
we go.
So we're going to give this away, and to the comments that come in. So we're going to have a draw. So make sure you comment, guys.
Gals.
Gals, yes.
Yeah, we sort of felt that we do a lot of things. We do a lot of giveaways, but it seems like it's geared towards the guys more than the gals. So Everett was out last week, I believe, was Everett? Was it last week?
Yeah.
Last week, and he was into Central Kia in Grand Falls, and he got this jacket donated. So we decided to have a contest where the ladies would write in below this video why they enjoy riding their side-by-side, quad, horseback, bicycle, what have you. Just put a comment below this video, and your name will go in for a draw for that jacket that was graciously donated by Central Kia in Grand Falls.
Yeah, awesome. Perfect.
Jamie, when you were talking just now about the different users on the trails, I was just thinking like there must be a 4-month, 5-month period when it doesn't apply to horses, bikes, whatever. It's pretty much, it's winter. So
the fat bikers use the winter trail all the time.
Pardon?
The fat bikers use the trailway all winter long.
Okay, do they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh yeah,
Probably,
the fat bikers and other mountain bikers to a point, but fat bikes are out there all the time, as Kevin can attest to.
I would say especially on the East Coast, eh?
Yeah, and there are a lot of snowshoers as well and skiers.
Okay.
Who use the trailway, right? Not so much the Snowmobile Federation's other network.
No.
But the actual trailway, the actual trunk line, it's used. Obviously, it's less used, but it still gets used by a lot of fat bikers and skiers and snowshoers all over the place.
Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
Great.
Yep. That's a good point, because you have to think in snowmobile is just like there's nobody around, right?
Yeah.
Jamie, the other week they announced on the radio about a town taking part of the rail bid for. They're not going to be able to use the rail bid. They're going to be put in a subdivision or something there. Did you hear anything on that?
No.
An auxiliary trail.
Or you say, Elvin?
It was an auxiliary trail,
That's
I
down to
believe,
Southern
and it
Shore.
was
That's out of
one of the branch lines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Government. The main trunk line is the provincial park.
down in Witless Bay.
But the branch lines weren't protected, right?
Okay, good enough.
Yep.
There you go.
There you go. I concur.
That's a good one.
I think Danny was
that is in which
I believe Danny was talking about on Friday. Him and his a group are going to go to Gaff Topsails, and that's where that's kind of coming from, right?
And like this goes back to the point of where Rick's point about bridges earlier, because the deck over a bridge for a snowmobile or a side by side is very different decking than if you're going to put a pedal bike on it.
Yeah, right.
Because the snowmobile club will do it with a 3-inch gap where the skis fit in there, so the skis don't tear up the bridge. But that's really dangerous for a mountain biker because his tire goes in those little gaps and he ends up flipping over and having a major accident. So it's just a different thought process when you're in a multi-use environment. Because the side by side goes over it, no big deal. Skidoos go over it, no big deal. Horses don't like it because they can see down through it. Walkers don't care, but it's really dangerous for cyclists, right?
Yes, that's right.
It's sort of along the analogy that I sort of think about sometimes when I talk about ATV trails and snowmobile trails, because I said it 1,000 times that a good ATV trail makes a great snowmobile trail. So if you got a good cyclist bridge, let's say, it's a bridge for everyone.
Yep.
Right? It's so if we're repairing bridges or doing tops on bridges and we design them for cyclists, then we're actually designing them for the full route across the board.
And I understand why they're designed that way. It's because the carbide tips on a ski blade is like a razor blade, right? It destroys the wood going across it. So what we do is we put a sacrificial foot and a half, 2 foot wide boards across it, and then when they get pared down, you can just replace them. But that gives bicycles somewhere to run, right?
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, see, and that's the snowmobile network too, right? Western Brook Gorge to Taylor's Brook Road.
Yes.
You got to have
Good.
a stronger rear end on you than I would have, I think. I don't know if I'd be able to last that long on this on a mountain bike.
You need one of those banana seat bikes.
Yeah, or air cushion, or one of those blow up ones, or something, donut, or something, heavy duty suspension, or something.
Well, I got lots that'll hang down over.
Yeah. But these fat bikes, as Kevin can speak to, I mean, fat bikes can go a lot of places that a regular mountain bike can't, right? So I mean,
the thing about the fat bike is that the tires for generally are like 4 inches wide, and there's only 8 or 9 pounds of pressure in the tires, so they'll roll over for a lot of rocks and stumps and so on and so forth. And you don't have to be a really good technical cyclist in order to ride the fat bike on really rough terrains, right? And the fat bike is kind of like I call it the ATV of bicycles in the province, because you can take it out on the roughest kind of terrain, and it'll go over it. Now it's not so good in bogs nor on pavement. It really doesn't work well on pavement.
But to your
on
point,
rough
Everett, they
terrain,
put
and
studs on them
certainly
in the wintertime.
And in the
Oh, do they?
wintertime, you put on a set of studded tires, yes. And
Wow.
so and that deals with the ice. And so there's people who ride all winter long, and especially on groomed trails that have been groomed with through ATVs. Now, in some areas, what's happening, they have groups who will groom trails for the cyclists. For example, in Pippy Park, here in St. John's, and other areas throughout the province, they'll have the groom trails. And in some situations, they may have, for example, on the cross country groups, and in the cross country skiing clubs, they will offer a day or a weekend for cyclists to get out and ride those trails. Right, so there's more and more cooperation and work between the various groups, so that they can offer the opportunities for cyclists with the fat bikes and riding in the winter. But it's a wonderful machine, or a bicycle, if you like, the fat bike, and it's ideal for riding, to ride across the province, to come from Port aux Basques on, or go east to west. But most people go from Port aux Basques, go from west to east, because there's always a little bit of a breeze in your back, which always helps. Right, so it's there's some talk of having a race across the province on the trailway from for whether fat bikes or on another type of bicycle. But that's
very interesting.
still in the initial stages.
So, are they becoming more popular, or is it like I've seen them out west, but I can't remember ever seeing them on a trail system here. So they're getting to be more popular.
Bikes, yes, yeah. As Jamie had mentioned earlier, there's fat bikes are being sold as fast as they arrive into the bicycle stores, and people are purchasing them because it's a multi-use type of bicycle. You can use it certainly in the winter, and a lot of people will they'll have a fat bike perhaps for riding in the winter, and then another bicycle for riding summertime, whether it's a mountain bike or a road bike or something to ride on the trails. So it's becoming sales in bicycles in the province. I don't know what the stats are on it, but certainly you have to order a bicycle now in advance to actually get one. There's very few times that you actually walk into a bike store and have a selection of bicycles there that'll fit your needs and your body size, right? So there's it's becoming a real issue.
That's very
for
interesting.
bicycle stores to be able to provide the product. And,
That's one thing
and
COVID
also
did right across the
parts,
country.
Yes.
Nobody throws away a parrot anymore because they're trying to purchase parrots, and the bicycle industry has become a real issue in the last year because of COVID and the shutdown of production, and now it's become a real issue of trying to get bicycle parrots and then to get them shipped from the production sites. So it's a real problem. I mean, a bicycle is not you have two wheels, a chain, and some other parts. But by heavens, there's some real issues in the industry of trying to get all those components put together. Right? So, but they're becoming very technical also in the type of bicycle and in the components that go into these. And of course, there's various levels of components, entry level stuff to very high tech components that you'll have on your bicycles, from drop seats to the list goes on. You can't imagine of what they have in the technology that's come through on bicycles.
I see the comment there up on the Skidoo Trail,
great
right?
Opportunity. It's wonderful to ride.
See the comment up on the Skidoo Trail, 20 kilometers up the Skidoo Trail. There's fat bikes, right?
Yes.
Where you would never really expect them.
No,
Like,
that's right.
Right
That's
on
right,
in your mindset, right?
Yeah. So always have to keep your mind open, right, to the possibility of something different around the turn.
Exactly, right? Like
Yeah.
and that's and a guy on a fat bike is obviously less mobile than a guy on a Skidoo.
Yes.
He's not going to be able to get out of the way or make a turn or avoid things as fast.
And now the e-bikes are coming online and getting more popular as well, right?
Yep.
The
The pedal assist electric bikes, pedal bikes are also coming out now, which allow people to go further, faster, more distance, which opens up more people to go where you did 200 or 300 kilometers before. Now you might do 400 kilometers. So you're seeing more people expand their network, right?
Yeah.
COVID has drove everybody outdoors. So now I used to say, right, get outdoors and get the smell off you. So I mean, that's COVID has definitely done that, right? Like everybody's outdoors on trails, period. And that's that's across the country phenomenon.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Perfect.
Well, we're coming up to the top of the hour here. Excuse me. And I think this was a great discussion. From what I hear, having some etiquette on the trailway is the same as kind of safety. Be aware of who's around you, and speed, like keep your speeds down. Watch out for dust. Know who's in your group when you're going with a group, and to make sure that we are doing such a good method or good job here that tourists would like to come and ride our trail system, because a conversation that somebody had with somebody on the trail saying, "Oh, man, when we were in Newfoundland, blah, blah, blah," that's a good place to go. And that's what we really want to push here. So,
and make sure you got a good first aid kit with you, whether you're walking, hiking, biking or ATV and UTV, because you never know what you might come across.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure if you're aware. It's funny you mentioned that. Then I just actually purchased a bunch of first aid kits for anyone that's in the group to buy.
It's a shameless plug. I didn't know, so you're welcome.
I'd say no, Jeffrey. You paid him some money to say that.
I'd say he did too.
Yeah, but I think for the most part, anyone that got any experience at all on especially side by sides and quads and so forth, they already have a first aid kit in their possession, and some may need them topped up now. Because some people are a little more in tune to getting a scrape and a cut. They got to open up their first aid kit and use their little band-aids and stuff. So they need their first aid kits topped up. So these are nice little kits I got coming. Just send me a message and I'll get one out to you.
Yeah, good. You've advertised that on the site there on the Facebook page,
Yeah.
so that's awesome. Yeah, good. Good.
I have a question, a quick question for Rick. Other than on the Avalon, Rick, you're involved, I think, with safety, doing courses maybe for ATV safety. Is there anywhere else on the island that's being done? Like if we want to get a
Yeah.
group together, for instance, is there someone can come out and do that, or?
Not know of. Instructors are becoming very rare. And what happens? We had instructors. Canada Safety had instructors, but I'm lucky that our organization, we've been current enough because we've been training a few RCMP officers and stuff like that. But what happens? Where training is not mandatory. If you don't train in a year, your certification drops off. So there's not as many of us out there as you'd think. That being said, we do travel. We can certainly try to do something. We've been very lucky with Avalon Trailways because we partner with the RCMP, and the RCMP got a pretty big reach and with them. Not so much, more so our education. We're doing, and we certainly do that at a much better, I guess, a greater distance than we do with actually hands-on training, showing up and getting 6 bikes on a course and all that. But an education program, we've been doing them even through COVID. Like here in my rec room now, it looks like a studio because we've been doing these sort of things. So we're available for that whenever you want to come on, talk for an hour or so about safety, about the ATVs, expectations, responsibility, the whole thing.
I mean, like what we're doing here now.
Yeah. So, but that's good. We can certainly arrange that.
We can keep you guys going, and we certainly appreciate it. I'm speaking out from everything I'm involved with. You guys have been fantastic to us, so we really appreciate it.
Just step in
Pauline
here
coming on and
speak in here.
Foreman. I can't say it enough. We certainly appreciate it.
Well, boys, I'm going to leave the show there now.
Okay.
All right, Cheryl.
Yeah, good night, boys.
See you, Carl.
Yep, see you, Carl.
Yeah, good.
There's a comment by one of your listeners, Jeff Thomas, had questioned about an e-bike coming up behind, and he hadn't been able to hear them. Well, on bicycling, Bicycle NL, we put out last year some videos, animated videos, short ones, 30, 40 seconds, I think. And one we have is on multi-use trail etiquette. And one of the things that we suggest is for people to have on their bicycle a bell. And it's very simple. As you come up behind somebody, you ring your bell when you're 15 yards, 20 yards back. Just ring the bell, and the pedestrian, they certainly appreciate that. And I think it's incumbent upon the cyclist, whether it's on an e-bike or a fat bike or whatever, to have a bell. and to ring it and to let the pedestrian know that the walker know that you're coming up behind them. And so for Jeff, that's I would suggest that's the answer there. We developed the videos, safety videos, about 10 of them, and dealing with clothing, size of bicycles, and so on and so forth. But that one on trail etiquette was an important one that we did, and what we wanted to do was to sell the idea of having respect for other users on the trail, but certainly to have that bicycle, to have that bell on your bicycle.
Wonderful. So those videos you mentioned there, are you able to sometime now in the future, maybe later on tonight, put a link up below in the comments so we can get access to those videos? Is that possible?
I can. Yes, I can. I can send the. If you go on to the Bicycle NL website, you'll be able to find them. But I could send a link to you for those, right? And to have a look at them, right? And I think that the one on the trail etiquette is you could almost use the same concept for trail etiquette and the trailway, where you have multi-use, and something like that could be developed for from educational purposes there. Right? So so I can get that link onto. I'll send that to Elwin onto that, and then he can get it onto you guys.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going over our time there, Elvin.
Overtime.
Overtime.
Yeah. But it's good.
Yes.
And everybody got a last minute thought put in or not? Anybody want to give you another minute to end off or close up or whatever you want to say? Okay, I guess you said
Guys, I'd like to say, as the president, as the president, once again, thank you very much. It means a lot to us to get on, and no matter if you're a snowmobile or 18, we're all the same, you know. And we all played well together. We all get along, and please, like, any questions, any concerns, get in touch with us at Trailways. There could be something that we can address very easily. So, let's keep the lines of communication open. And once again, thank you very much.
Hey, you're more than welcome. It's our pleasure to have you guys on.
Yes.
With all your experience and the things like, I don't know half the stuff you talk about because I didn't know that this was already existing. And it's education, really, all about this. It's good. Jeffrey and Everett, I think what we'll do for that jacket.
Yeah, we're making a lot of it up. You don't know. Right?
I think what we'll do for the jacket is we'll draw on the next show.
Yes.
And we'll give, because some of our viewers are outside of Newfoundland, and they might want a comment or two.
Yes.
So, ladies, if you're watching this and it's on a rerun or later on, put in a comment, and then on our next show, we'll put all the ladies' names on our wheel, and we'll draw for that jacket.
Yes, this nice little jacket that was donated there by Central Key and Grand Falls, and thanks to Everett for setting that up. And I just want to say, in our comment section there, we got Patrick, and he's going to be on our next show, I do believe. The next show coming up, I think. And,
on the 19th.
Yes, on the 19th. So Patrick is the gentleman that runs Crossing Newfoundland by ATV. A wealth of information there, and if you want to learn some more, join us next, not Wednesday coming, but the next, and get your questions up for Patrick.
Yeah, and Corporal Jolene is going to be on too, and it's really in conjunction with the ATV Safety Week and a kickoff for on the 24th. So
Good stuff.
I think I might have froze up there. I'm having internet problems here tonight for some reason, but anyway. So I'll be in Clarenville, and I'll bring the show from there on the 19th. And then on the 20th, I think, Rick, I'll meet you out at Holyrood, and we'll have another conversation. And stay tuned to the announcement on the Twitter feed from the RCMP Newfoundland. They'll give you the specifics of the date and the time, and the 20th is the day that's locked down, but we got another meeting coming up on Friday, I believe, Rick. So everything will be confirmed then, and but on the 19th we'll talk about that. She'll be here with us, and she'll tell us about it as well. So folks, that's it for this evening. Again, appreciate you guys coming on and talking to us for a bit.
Yeah,
And
thanks, guys.
with that, I got a little see you later kind of a thing going on. So here you go.